we are going to talk about zombies. Yay!
All right. This is a panel I'm like all over. Heidi, tell me, what is your experience with zombies?
Oh my gosh. So I grew up in a household where we were mildly obsessed. Me and my brother specifically were mildly obsessed with the idea of the zombie apocalypse. Not like we were big horror buffs. We loved watching horror movies, and of course we watched all the zombie movies. I love Romero. But we never saw the zombie apocalypse as scary. We saw it as the chance to kill all the stupid people. And for us, it was a fantasy. It was an exciting and a great thing because I remember when, I guess it was early 2000, there was a report that was published about the psychology of zombies in teenage boys, which I found highly offensive because as a teenage girl, I related to every single point on that list, and a lot of zombie fans, it's not like it was 40 years ago where people were obsessed with the fear of coming back. It was a lot of the zombie fans were disenfranchised youth, typically male teenagers, who weren't a part of the inner crowd, who felt like the way that they thought was very different from the, quote, sheep or zombies of society, and who kind of liked the safeness of the idea of an apocalypse where it would be okay to kill all of those stupid people. And my brother and I just went, yep, that's us.
It's funny because for a few things here as we roll into this. The first thing is if you are wanting to join the discussion, we are definitely wanting you to hop on live here with us. You just need a webcam and preferably headphones so it doesn't echo back and reverberate. If you are wanting to join the discussion, email me at Angela B. Chrysler, CHRYSLER, just like the car, at yahoo.com. Angela B. Chrysler at yahoo.com, and we'll email you the link and you can jump right in with this discussion. All zombie lovers are welcome under one condition. I have not watched the finale of Walking Dead. I know I'm going to be emotionally distraught, and it's going to require a work of me to just...
You won't. I promise. You won't.
It'll take me a while. So, and with the convention, because I'm running the convention, I could not emotionally risk losing my cool over this. So I have postponed. I will be watching it tomorrow with a box of tissues when I have a week to recoup from withdrawals from Daryl Dixon. So
no withdrawals. You just watch it over again on Netflix. That's how I roll.
I have the DVDs. I'll tell you how I came into this. I of course I was on Twitter and everyone was talking zombies, and it started off with giant flea zombies, and I'm like, okay, zombies, and I'm on with that. And then Walking Dead was thrown all over, and I'm like, what's Walking Dead? Now, I don't have cable TV, nothing. If I want to watch it, I get the DVD or the Blu-ray. So I hear zombies and Walking Dead being thrown around, and everyone went, you gotta watch it, and like one massive, 100 people, you gotta watch it. Okay. So I bought season 1 because it was like $10 or something like that, and I watched one episode. It was, okay, I got this in, watched the one episode, okay. Walked back over to Amazon and went, buy all, and bought the rest of the DVDs on the spot. And season 5 rolled around, and because it posts like an hour or a day behind,
right?
Like 2 hours behind, I couldn't wait for September to roll around when the DVDs came back out. So I bought it on Amazon, and then like 6 months later, I bought it on Amazon again so I could have the DVD form, and I did the same thing with season 6. So I actually buy it twice, and I don't care, it's worth it. Feed the addiction.
I do that with all my favorite books too, so that I can take them on my phone wherever I go, and I still have the physical ones when I want a physical book.
Yeah, and Walking Dead is so phenomenal, but you know that. So
is Walking Dead
I do rewatch it.
Zombie addiction or?
I'm sorry, is it my only zombie addiction?
Yeah.
I was introduced to zombies actually with Night of the Walking Dead only about 10 years ago because I had never seen it, and it's a classic film.
Yes.
So for the ode of classic television, I sat down through Zombies, The Walking Dead. And I was like, okay, all right, processing. But yeah, Walking Dead really kickstarted it. And then, yeah,
so you're a newbie to the zombie
I am a
love.
newbie, and I mean, like, I am a year. I am a Ute. I am a Ute. So, and I absolutely just encompass this. And it's funny because I have the Bruce Campbell Marvel comic merge with Zombies. So I bought those for my husband, and so we've got these awesome, Spider-Man turns into a zombie, and he turns Mary Jane into a zombie, and then Bruce Campbell comes in with his chainsaw to take care of the situation. Yeah. And we are okay. All right, I got to slow myself down here because this is a big topic. So my second welcome to the zombie world is one I did not appreciate until after the Daryl Dixon thing came in and out. Well, it came in, and it's not going out again anytime soon. So here's what happened. I love anime, of course. And my favorite anime is One Piece. I got to bring him down here because this is my boy. This is Luffy, okay? And he is kick-ass. So there is this one moment with Luffy where they are on Thriller Bark. If you have not seen Thriller Bark from One Piece, you are missing out. The whole thing is zombies. So they take my favorite anime and they mix it with zombies, and you don't know yet. I mean, everything's dead and gloomy, and it looks like Halloween. And I'm like, okay, and I'm going through this. And they get through a graveyard, and you suddenly hear...
Yeah.
And Luffy turns around, and you see the zombie pulling himself out of the ground. And he stands. And this is how Luffy reacts. And he walks over and he grabs the zombie by the shoulders and he shoves him back down into the ground. Yeah. That's it. And zombie witnesses the beginning of the zombie apocalypse and just shoves him back into the ground. And that really encompasses Luffy's personality. So the third welcome to the zombie world is another anime by the name of High School of the Dead.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh my goodness. The first thing I have to say about this is, if you are into anything anime, you know Death Note.
Yep, I do. I love Death Note.
Yes, you do. High School of the Dead was written and created by the same people.
Oh, okay.
So, when you walk into High School of the Dead, you are expect that same level of Death Note. Stunning. Now, this is what they did with it. It's great. Unlike American television with Japanese television, they take a survey, and they say, what do you want to see? And the audience puts their say in there, and the writers will create what the audience wants. Right. And of course, they threw that out there. We're doing zombies. What do you guys want? Or maybe they just threw it out there, but the populace came back with, we want boobs, and we want zombies, and we want hot chicks, and we want zombies. And, of course, it's a bunch of 13, 12-year-old boys. And the writers did one of these. All right.
Zombies with boobs. Wait,
you want this? All right, we'll give it to you. And they purposely made this top-quality, animated, beautiful anime, and they loaded it with sexual content to the point where it is rammed down their pubescent throats. But they're zombies! It's ludicrous, and it's
like zombie strippers from hell. Yes,
and it's
such a horrible movie.
If you take physics at all serious, abandon what you know with this, and it's just it's epic. It really is. It is a parody, and it is tongue in cheek, but it's done so well. So that was my second. Well, I guess my third exposure to zombies was High School of the Dead. It is rated R, or 17+, but. It is so hilarious. My favorite is they're fighting zombies, and the zombies look so real, like Walking Dead real. They are gorgeous zombies. And this girl falls on her back, and the boy she's with jumps on her, and he places his hands on her chest, and he goes with the machine gun. And of course, the animators had fun with that. But at one point, you see her boobs doing this. Physics, just ignore the physics. And the bullet slow-mos between the boobs as they do this. It is ludicrous. but they animated it beautifully.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, and it's wonderful, and it's zombies. So I strongly recommend High School of the Dead, and Thriller Bark from One Piece if you haven't seen. Yeah, that's my zombie experience, and of course Walking Dead. So
Yeah.
I'm
I
into it.
I grew. I have two boys. One's 14 and one is just turned 12 yesterday. Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
And they grew up because gosh, I think my brother and I snuck our first zombie movie when we were like 13. Got in a lot of trouble for that.
Which movie?
It was Romero's Walking Dead, or Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Oh,
Day
okay.
of the Dead. I don't remember. One
It's
of
not
those.
Shaun of
It
the
was
Dead.
Romero. It was Romero.
Okay. All right.
And it was horribly funny. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just a mess. But anyway, we didn't have nightmares, but my mom was still upset because we weren't supposed to watch scary stuff like that. So
Yeah. No, that's all
um,
right. That's absolutely all right.
yeah. So and we every chance we got, we were sneaking zombie stuff and anime. We watched a lot of zombie anime. Because he's the one that introduced me to anime when I was very young. So my brother is the reason I am awesome. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, you are. You know
Thank
the
you.
anime.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all because of my brother. All my amazing
Yeah.
geek stuff, I have to give him props. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, my boys grew up when they would do something stupid. Mom and dad's reaction was, if you did that in a zombie apocalypse, you would die. And my poor kids had no idea what zombies were because I didn't want to traumatize them. You know, they were 4 and 5 years old at this time, and I didn't want to traumatize them. It was just a way for me to make light of a situation that was frustrating me when they weren't behaving.
Yeah.
And I remember my sister heard me say that to one of them, and she's like, oh, I can't believe you would say that. Oh, my gosh. And I was like, what? They don't know what a zombie apocalypse is. It doesn't matter. And then they've reached the age where we're starting to introduce them to zombie things. Not Walking Dead. We're not that brave. But, you know, we play zombie dice together, and we have zombie flux, and they've watched some of, like, Scooby-Doo zombie stuff. And,
oh, yeah, there are zombies on Scooby-Doo. Yeah.
There is. Zombie Island gave them nightmares. I felt so bad.
Yeah.
I felt so bad.
And, yeah, I thought my daughter was ready for Walking Dead, so I had her watch an episode. And I'm going to go over this. It's the one where Glenn is lowered down into the well. Need I say more? It was right after that scene, though. I made a point of her not seeing the zombie at the bottom of the well being ripped apart. So she came in and she watched right up to Sophie. Now, I got to say this. Of all the deaths in Walking Dead, Sophie.
That was the one that was most traumatic for you?
For me, yes. And I'll tell you why. Like I said, I came into this late, and we were already into the 4th season when everyone was screaming, oh my God, you gotta watch this. And with all of this came a kill list. So I saw every single character that was not going to make it. So I watched the first episode. Someone came in and I went, okay, yeah, I know this person's gonna die. Yeah. I saw Herschel and went, okay, yeah, I know he's gonna die. And Beth, I saw her face blanked out. So when I was introduced to Beth, I went, oh yeah, she's gonna die. Yeah. So when I met these characters, I did not attach myself to them. There was no, okay, so this is character I know I'm gonna lose her. So there was no connection. There was absolutely a distancing. So every death for the first 4 seasons did not impact me. Beth died, and I went, yeah, okay. Daryl crying, that impacted me.
Yeah. Yeah. His brother's death wasn't traumatic, but Daryl's trauma was traumatic.
Yes, Daryl seeing it, though. Oh.
Daryl's trauma was traumatic.
I did not see Sophie's death coming. I had this whole thing plotted out. I had this massive, I see where this is going to go. And I had plans. I was expecting them to forget. I was expecting them to pull what they did with Beth's death, where they forget her, she runs off, they don't find her. Weeks later, they finally track down this group, and there is Sophie, and they have to fight to get her back. That is what I was expecting. Actually, exactly how they played out Beth's situation. So I see, they get into the barn, and they shoot up all the zombies, and everything's falling, and I'm like, okay. And I see this little shoe. And I went,
oh, no!
And the camera spans up, and I see her shirt. And I just went, oh! And I see the face and the hair, and I just went, I was blindsided.
Oh,
And
no. And
Carol,
see, I told my husband when they first discovered the barn, I was like, Sophie's going to be in there. And he's like, would
no
you
clue.
shut up?
No clue. No clue. I did not
I
see
ruined
that
it for
coming.
him.
I did not see it coming. So you see this little girl just kind of wander out of the pack. Carol runs, and Daryl jumps and grabs her and holds her, and she's just, and I'm reaching for Carol, and I'm sobbing. And so to me, Sophie's death is still of all the deaths, that one hits me. That and Lori's death. I was thrilled.
Oh, I was so happy. Best death ever. I was like, she's an idiot. How is she still alive?
Oh, I hated Lori.
I did too.
I have had 3 babies, and I know. I can't think for a minute. Prison Break.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved her in Prison Break. So I get in there and I'm like, oh, okay, Prison Break. And I see the actress going through it, and then she's pregnant with Judith. And I'm like, I've had 3 babies. That is not how a woman walks when she is pregnant. Period. So I had some real issue. I'm sorry. I gotta say this. So Carl's back there. He's dying from this buckshot. And what does she say? We can't let him live. What kind of a mother are you?
Right?
You can't let him live. What are you gonna do? Kill yourself?
Just let him die.
Yeah. Oh, I hated her. And then
and you know the funny thing is, so my brother and I, when we were younger, before I had kids, we knew how we were going to survive the zombie apocalypse, and we were going to do it together.
Yep.
And then after I had kids, we were just joking, talking about it one day, and my brother was like, you know what? I don't want you on my zombie survival team anymore. And I was like, screw you! And he's like, no, you don't understand. You're going to do something stupid to save your kids, and I'm not going to die for them.
You know what? You are Jesse!
You're a really crappy
Jesse! No, you are Jesse! Oh. No, it was. I have so much to say about Walking Dead, but there is something about when you get into zombies, the very first thing you do is WWJD. Yeah, what would I do? What would I do? Yeah, and it becomes a thing. It's I don't know, maybe it's instinct. You immediately, and I think that's it. Whenever you watch a show, you put yourself in there and you say, what would I do? But with the zombie apocalypse, it's, what would I do? And suddenly you find yourself going, and we all know that the government will fall. We all know there will be an apocalypse. It's coming. Zombie apocalypse, okay. But it's coming.
We can hope. We can hope.
No, it's coming. So everyone who gets into zombies immediately composes a survival plan. Do you see this? Do you see this? Zombie survival plan. People to trip. Yes. And the only thing this shirt is missing is Daryl Dixon. So I have to tell you, there's one Walking Dead fan. He had a gorgeous contract written up. And, I mean, this is official. It's printed out on poster board. He hunted down Norman Reedus and Andrew London, I think that's his name. And he got them to sign it.
Oh, how cool.
It's a contract that states, in the event of there being a zombie apocalypse, I vouch to protect this person, and his name is there. And underneath it, he has Norman Reedus and Andrew London, and I'm like, shit, that's mine. Like, oh, you tell it, best autograph ever. Best, yeah. Screw the autographing book. That was epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think part of the reason, I know everybody loves Daryl. And it's because he's the underdog, and he's the reason that zombie fans love zombie movies, because we all feel like Daryl Dixon, not maybe so awesome, but we feel like society puts us down, society doesn't accept us. And I think that scene when he ends up with the other guys who, you're just like us, when he lost Beth.
Oh yeah.
They have a good point. Those are the guys who are gonna survive, because they won't feel guilt or shame about killing people. They won't feel bad about taking supplies from the weak. But Daryl's not like that. And I think the reason that I love Daryl is because he reminds me so much of my brother. My brother could have been the popular guy, but he was too busy defending the less popular people who were being bullied by the popular kids. My brother bullied the popular kids. And he says what he thinks no matter how people are going to take it, and rubs people the wrong way, and I think he kind of enjoys that. But at the end of the day, if there's anybody you want to have your back, it's him, because he's an Eagle Scout. He knows how to survive in any crisis, zombie or otherwise. He is a beautiful blending of compassion and wisdom. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he makes jokes, like he was joking about one of my kids was being particularly difficult, and he's like, it's okay, kiddo, I'll take you on the zombie apocalypse, I'll use you as bait and keep them back there while I'm running up ahead. And my son was just like, seriously, would you do that? And he's like, seriously, dude, do you think I'd let you die in the zombie apocalypse, please?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, but my son was just like, would he really do that? I was like, well, do you really want to test him and see if he'll do that? Maybe you should just behave. So, you know.
Yeah, and this is something that I absolutely, the reason why I love Daryl, and I'm going to be very just down with you on this one, is because of Boondock Saints.
Oh, yes. We love them, too.
I like the Boondock Saints. I'm the only person in my family who likes that movie.
I found out that he was in Walking Dead, and I'm like, that was the, well, why didn't you say so? I'm there. You know, so you have just stupid rope. Yeah, just,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I'll tell you, it's, no, I am an absolute Norman lover. I absolutely love him. Yeah, he is just epic. I actually want to talk, I remember when we started, when I started Walking Dead, and I went through, I'm a philosopher, so I went through all of it in a very philosophical, let's break this down. And I'm a writer, so I went through a let's storyboard this. And I'm also huge into psychology, so I'm like, let's break down and I'll tell you, I started watching it because of Boondock Saints. By the end of the first episode, I watched it because of the character and the story.
Right.
And first of all, I review a Walking Dead, and I do it in a very, let's break down the psychology, let's break down the philosophy of it, let's break this down. And it's not a, how awesome was Walking Dead last night? I don't do those kind of reviews, because it is awesome, and that's just obvious. Of course it's awesome.
We don't need to talk about that, yeah. Let's talk about the other stuff.
I'll tell you what did it. I didn't review it until I got to this one particular thing, and it's Morgan Jones when he comes back with the psychologist, the forensic psychologist who was in the prison, and he breaks down PTSD. Now, I have PTSD, so when I saw this episode, I went, nailed it. Yeah. That is PTSD. But it was more than that, and I quoted it actually in one of our discussions earlier. This episode, when he says, I will not let you kill me. It really, I broke this whole thing down. And I remember when this all began, it went over to, it was all about Andrew. It was all about, I'm thinking Carl, but it's his father, Rick. It was all about Rick. And I remember that first, will he find his son? Will he find his wife? And you find out that Lori is his wife, and then you're just like, that's your wife? You know. But Carl, we really bonded with Carl right away. And I love Glenn, that, hey, you, yeah, in the tank, dumbass.
Right.
I fell in love with Glenn hard. All I needed to hear, hey, you, dumbass. Yeah, you in the tank. That's all I needed to hear. I'm like, I love this man. No idea who he is, but I love him. And they brought in Glenn, and he was this little itty bitty kid, pizza delivery. Oh, pizza! I just caught that on. The little pizza delivery guy, and I'm like, all right, Glenn is the bomb. And then of course they bring in Daryl, and the first time you see Daryl, within 2 minutes, he takes his brother's hand and he throws it at this. Goes, you want to see what the last thing I did with the guy who messed with me? I love Daryl, so I'm like, all right. And right away I attached myself to these three characters. And I remember rooting for Glenn, going, I know he doesn't die yet, because it's not the thing. And then by second season, posters started coming out, Rick and Daryl. And then it's just Rick and Daryl, the whole thing, Rick and Daryl. When they pulled Glenn's not death off, I just went,
a lot of people were
Glenn! Rick, Daryl, Glenn!
Yeah.
Rick, Daryl, Glenn! And now Glenn is just, I'll tell you, and now, oh my God, the last, there's that one episode, they just did like 3 massive episodes where I just went, holy frick, right in a row. And it was Glenn explaining, you haven't done it yet, have you? You haven't killed anyone. No, I've been lucky. And he goes in there and he slides the blade into the guy's head, sleeping, and he breaks and he's crying. Yeah. And you're going, oh my God, he just crossed over. He just became one of them. And I'm huge on Apocalypse Now and the metaphor of the river and the becoming the monster that you mean to kill in order to kill the monster. And I'm just like, he took that first step, and I'm just crying. Glenn is trying to keep his shit together. He's got this other guy over there he needs to kill, and the other guy raises his hand to kill him, and Glenn stops him. The whole thing is wordless, but Glenn stopping him like, no, I will do it. You stay over on this side of death a little longer.
Yeah. I have to say, I really like, I think the character's name is Nathan? The kid that he stopped from killing?
Yes. I loved him. No, I do. I have attached myself to that character.
I really like him.
He did die, but definitely. And then Glenn kills him for him. And I'm just like, respect. But then Glenn stands up, and you're thinking, oh my God, we just took that last step. We are that. And he gets up there, and he looks at the pictures.
Yeah.
You know Walking Dead. Everyone here knows Walking Dead. I have never lost my cool or my stomach or my lunch over Walking Dead. Not when they took the guts and watered themselves in the guts. Not when they took the guts and used them as a disguise. I kept my crap together. The zombie falls apart in the wall. I'm good.
It's so awesome.
But when he stands up and he looks at the pictures of human beings mutilated, I was sick. And that was the first, so far only time that I really wanted to throw up. I went to the bathroom and gagged. The faces bashed in, the innocent children and people that this man mutilated. And suddenly I'm going, is Glenn a good guy?
Oh yeah, Glenn's definitely a good guy.
Yeah, it's really messed up because you're going, wow, Glenn, you just crossed over. What did you, it really, I'll tell you, it messes with you. It really does.
Yeah.
They nailed it with these characters.
So one of the things I was hoping we would get some authors of zombie stuff in here.
I am.
Oh, you write zombie stuff? Okay, cool.
So
in the last 6 years, I've noticed this trend in zombie stuff where it's not about killing the zombies. It's not about the humans connecting. It's about the zombies. It's kind of like what Twilight did to vampires, like with warm bodies and with iZombie.
There was that movie. It was like almost a
Warm Bodies
adult movie.
Warm Bodies.
I only saw the trailer for it, so I have no idea what it was called.
It's Warm Bodies. It is. Trust me, it's the only one out there, and it freaked me out so bad. I was like, that is so disgusting. But there was also a BBC TV series where the zombies came back home, and as they were giving them treatments, and as long as they gave them these treatments, they were back to being human, and it was the main character.
Good old zombie killings.
I don't know if you guys have read Kate Elliott. She writes a lot of epic fantasy, and one of her stories is just completely amazing. It's a trilogy. It starts with cold magic, cold fire, cold steel, I think is how it goes. I could be getting the order wrong, but in book 2, you are introduced to, she doesn't call them zombies, but they are zombies. And it's called the salt sickness, and they can't cross water.
Oh. That's convenient.
But there's ways where you can get bitten without having the salt sickness. But if you get bitten, they assume that you have the salt sickness. And so there's the main character spends a good 3 months on this quarantine island. Interacting with these zombies, and it's almost like they're just slowly going insane. And so you're seeing them lose who they are, as opposed to just dying and suddenly all at once being a mindless zombie.
No, it's funny because That is what Walking Dead is about. It is about losing humanity, and how far you can cross over to that need to survive without losing your humanity. And it really, at one point, I'm waiting for the question to come up, what is humanity? Because they haven't quite defined that yet either.
Yeah, no.
And it's beautiful. Regarding my what I've written, first of all, it's a blog novel. It's not published yet. I am going to write the whole thing and post it for free on my website. I think I have 6 chapters up. It is called Zombies from Space and Vampires. And I love the title. That's just the title. Zombies from Space and Vampires. And there is a pause. And I'll tell you how I came to this idea. I went to see Kung Fu Panda in January, and there's these 2 guys sitting there in the beginning of the preview talking about zombies, and one of them says, "In space." And I went, "No, better, from space." And my husband, by the time the movie was over with Kung Fu Panda, I had a plot. I was ready to write. I got home and I started scribbling, and I was good. My husband does not watch Walking Dead. I still love him. He got through season 5, and every person has one of those things that they just can't watch. For me, it's torture. For me, it's werewolves. I cannot watch werewolves. He cannot watch zombies. So instead, I watch an episode, and then I turn it off, and I say, okay, so this week's episode. And we got into this discussion of what exactly Walking Dead is about, and he said they take themselves seriously. You know, obviously they're going to survive. Obviously they're going to cross over, and they're trying to preserve their humanity. And I said, of course, that's all a given. But the question is, at what point do you lose the humanity? And it unfolded. But one of the things that he came at me with, that's the wrong term, that he challenged me with was, it's not realistic. Zombies are not credible. And whenever they are out there, they're usually tongue-in-cheek. But in Walking Dead, they're not tongue-in-cheek, and it's ludicrous. And I said, you know, to me, the zombies are just something cool that they set. The point is, it's a apocalypse. It has nothing to do with zombies. And he challenged me.
Well, but it kind of does.
It does.
Because it's how are they any different from the zombies? When they start cannibalizing each other.
And there are 2 antagonists actually in Walking Dead. You have the zombies, and to me those zombies are just obstacles.
It's almost like they're
obstacles. Yeah.
They're not. They're not the bad guy.
They're not. They are just the obstacles. But it's the other humans that have lost their humanity that they are up against all the time.
Right.
And
I think they hinted to the idea of, are you really, I mean, these people, they're not the Walking Dead, but they're already zombies. The moment they die, they're going to be that. And their behavior, is it that different from zombies other than the fact that they can think?
Yeah, exactly. And
I think they pose that really nicely, clearer in the graphic novel than in the series, but yeah.
Yeah, very much. In the Wolfman, you can see him making that crossover. So one of the things he challenged me with is, you make zombies that I can, as a scientist, find credible. And I did. And this is the beauty. The zombies in my story are not zombies. They are actually an alien race called Weeches. And they just happen to look like what we would call zombies. And they do eat humans, but they're not zombies. They are a living alien race that feeds on humans that look like zombies. So when they come to planet Earth and they invade, we look at them and we go, oh, they're zombies, because that's what we know them as, but they're Weeches. So they invade. Now here's the wonderful thing about my story. I love this part of my story. This is also a world where vampires do exist, but they're underground and they kind of hide themselves out, and they've accepted the idea that we think they're legend. But when the Weeches attack, now their food source is threatened. Right. So the vampires come out of hiding, and now they have to fight the Weeches to preserve their food source. So it's vampires fighting off zombies to preserve who gets the cattle, which is us. Now, the story revolves around Arya, who wakes up to this zombie apocalypse / alien invasion, and she's like, WTF! And she is saved by a vampire lord named Caius. And she's like, dude, what is this freaky crap that I just walked into? And he has alternate plans with Arya. There's a whole other story there that I haven't revealed yet. But he takes her. He doesn't preserve her for food. He takes her to capture her. And she's rescued by Cinders and this group of people. and she's taken to they're humans. She's taken to this ship, the HMS Slushbrain, and upon this ship, they are basically it's a ragtag team of almost Daryl Dixon-like people, some very eccentric people, who actually these characters are all based on writer friends of mine. Adam Dries is in the book. C.L. Schneider is in the book. Stan Sudan is in the book. Myself, Stanislava the Kohut, and Kylie the Kraken Jude. Kylie Jude. We are all in the book as characters, and I actually posted it one day and said, okay, guys, pick your character. And I got bombarded with, I want to be this kind of person. And I'm like, sure, I'll just throw it in here. And we are basically uprising against the cause and fighting back this zombie and vampire thing to preserve the human race. So, and in the meantime, Arya's got this impending, where is my family, what happened to my father, whole thing going through it. But, oh yeah, and Matthew William Harrell's in it as some lunatic. It's an MLS Weech. He said he wanted to be the zombie. And I'm like, well, the zombies don't actually, I will call them the Weeches. They are Weeches. And now it's like a thing. So that's zombies from space and vampires. And I'll tell you, when I post a chapter, it gets eaten. Like, people love it. So it's on my website. It's free. And there's even a PDF download. So have fun.
Cool. Very cool.
That's
I'll
fine. And I
definitely
will
have to
be
check that
publishing
out.
it. Yeah, I will.
With that, I have to say, one of my brother and I's favorite movies, because it was the first time zombies actually scared us, is 28 Days Later. Because technically they're not zombies, really, but they are. They're humans that were infected with a rage virus that attack other humans that pass that virus onto the other humans and destroy society. And I'll tell you, watching that movie, like, nails dug into the seat. And, oh my gosh, he's not going to live. Oh my gosh, he's going to die. And it's kind of like Walking Dead smashed into one movie, only the primary villain is the zombies, and then the humans at the end. But anyway, it is an absolutely awesome
28 days.
28 days later.
Did you see War Z yet?
Yeah, I liked the book.
I saw that one. I didn't have a problem with it.
I did not care for the movie.
I have it, and it's still in the cellophane. I have not opened it to watch. My husband, as I said, he can't watch zombies.
Yeah.
So he saw
and they're very different zombies, too.
Okay. You know what movie I loved? I Am Legend.
I don't like those. Yeah, I loved I Am Legend, too, but I was surprised how different it was from the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the whole concept.
I have a question for you, zombie lovers.
Yes.
Yes, question. This is a question for me and not from anybody else. But there are some zombies that are, like, aggressive and fast, and then there are some zombies that are, like, slow and almost dumb.
Yeah.
Which ones are better?
Okay.
It depends on what you're going for with the story.
I will tell you. This really bothered me. If you watch Walking Dead, they are slow, stupid. Well, not stupid. They're slow. There's no and you see the science of it. The only part of them that's living is the tail of the brain, where the spine attaches. The frontal cortex here is where our logic is. If you actually study for a test and push yourself mentally, it is this part of your brain that's going to actually feel warm, because it's your frontal cortex where logic sits. Emotions sit more in the back and the middle. So scientifically, they don't have any logic. And one of the things that this is a whole thing, so give me a minute here. One of the things that humans and primates in the ape species is we have that not superior, but that we have the ability to function with an upper level of frontal cortex use. And most animals do not, except there are some birds that can. And that defining crossover is the use of tools. There is a particular kind of bird that has learned it can pick up rocks and use it to hammer something. And that is such a huge advanced development. It's just amazing. If you watch Walking Dead, only in the first episode, one of the zombies picks up a rock and bangs the glass with it.
Yeah.
No.
It wasn't in the book like that. It wasn't in the book.
I didn't think it would be. I saw that.
And they got slammed really hard for that by a lot of people. And they went, oops, our bad. We didn't know.
That's that is huge. That is so much upper level problem solving, that requires 100% that part of the brain. And I lose it every time I see that. I'm just like, no. And you could tell they never made the mistake again. They immediately, okay, so they want dumb zombies. They definitely want lower primitive. And I'll tell you, Glenn says it very well. 1 or 2 is fine. It's when they come at you in a swarm that they're a problem.
Right.
And that really, and yeah, I'll tell you, the first time you see him and he's in Atlanta and he pulls in and there is just this whoosh, and you're going, was anyone else with season 6 opening up, the black and white back and forth, I love that. But when you see those 10,000, 100,000, I'm terrible with that.
In the pit?
Yeah.
My husband and I were both like, they've got that gas tanker. Why don't they just light that shit up? Just saying.
No, it doesn't matter.
I
but you know what happens when zombies are this way. So I'll tell you, the episode that just really rang through to me, and this is one where I watched it. There were 2 of them, and they were actually back to back. It was before they went on holiday vacation for season 6. It was when Alexandria is taken over and they decide to disguise themselves, and the zombie gets again. I love the line. Rick said, come on, we're going to go ahead and get some bed sheets, and I need 2 zombies. What are you going to do? It's all right, I've done this before. And I said, that's right, you did do it before. Season 1, episode 2, it's great. That's how I responded. So he gets out there, and the Wolfman's got Denise, and there's this massive face-off between Carol and Morgan, and then the music starts. And I'll tell you, I watched that thing. I literally had it on repeat for like 4 hours, where I just sat there and watched it over again. The music builds up, and then you've got the Sam, mom, and I'm like, zombie beat. So
yep.
They pick it up with the holiday break is over, and they come back. That episode, Sam loses his cool, of course, because he's a child in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. The mother does what the mother does, and this is where your brother is right, Heidi.
Yep, I will be the reason he dies.
She's holding on to Carl in one hand. She's got Sam in the other. She's like, come on, Sam, let's go. And Sam is eaten, and she's screaming, and then the zombie comes up and grabs her, and Jesse's being eaten. And Rick turns, and this is just beautiful, beautiful writing, filmography, gorgeous. Rick turns, and he sees the woman he loves, and he flash picture, just memories of Jesse, and you can see him just tormented. And then you hear Dad, and Rick turns and sees Carl, and Jesse's got Carl, and he takes out the machete, and he hacks her arm, and you see Jesse's face red. Hacks her arm, Jesse's face red. Oh, I got goosebumps. It's so powerful. Oh, and then that kid pulls out the gun and shoots, and I'm like, okay. And then Dad and Rick looks, and Carl turns, and I screamed. I suddenly had kids. Mom, are you okay? Daryl died. I knew it. Daryl's dead, Dad.
Nope.
No, I had a chorus. Daryl died. He's it. Daryl's dead, Mom. Not Daryl. So, and it's funny because that was the moment I realized how attached I was to Carl. Like, he is one of the Atlanta 6. And it just, powerful stuff.
Yeah. So, Aurelia, I think it depends on, for me anyway, because I watch all zombies. I'm a little neurotic. But I think it depends on what I'm looking for. If I want to be scared, fast zombies, much better. If I'm really pissed off at society, slow zombies are perfect, especially if I get to kill them. If I'm feeling in an enlightened mood, then I'll watch Warm Bodies or iZombie because,
oh yeah,
that perspective.
Like that just whole concept of that TV show, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Fast zombies are supposed to be mindless.
Right. Well, and I have to say, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't like fast zombies. I hate the concept. To me, the whole horror.
They're the only reason zombies are scary.
It's because
you can run from the other ones. It's easy to get away.
I don't, because there is one zombie in episode 1, Walking Dead, season 1, and it runs fast, and I was scared shitless, yeah, I was scared shitless. Maybe that's why I just went.
That's why you don't like them. That's why you don't like them.
That's why
I like to be scared. I really do.
All right. It wasn't logical, but I.
But it depends. I mean, it depends on what causes the zombie virus too, and that's another thing that's a huge debate among zombie fans. Is the virus? Is it a virus? Is it something that was bioengineered, which is what happened with 28 Days Later? And one of the reasons I liked it, because for the first time I actually went, oh, zombies could actually happen. A zombie apocalypse could absolutely, realistically happen. And never had thought about bioengineering before. Voodoo zombies, where it's magical, so there isn't any way to defeat it, is another. I mean, they have their own creepy aspect
I have those
too.
sometimes in some of my fantasy, but there's always one person who's brought them back, and if you
right, and you have to kill that person to break the curse, right? And knowing who that person is that does it, and so there's very different aspects to different types of zombies, and how the zombie comes about is really the key focus of whether. I mean, there's rules for each of those different types of zombies, and so I do get frustrated sometimes when people don't explain how their zombies happened.
How are you with Walking Dead on that topic?
I didn't care for the series because of that. When I first started, the reason we watch it, ironically, is because of my husband. And honestly, I've told him several times, if they kill Daryl, I have no reason to watch the series anymore. But I love the graphic novel, and I appreciate. Yeah, and I appreciate the and I'm only on like the second book in the graphic novels, but they do a much better job of explaining how and why it happened, and I really appreciated that, because they use that cheat of, you know, he wakes up in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Do
not tell me. I do not want to know. It's actually because I don't know that I love it. And the reason why is because if there really is a zombie apocalypse, we aren't going to know why. Unless somebody, like, if they're bioengineering something that fatal, assuming that that's what it was in Walking Dead, that's going to be a hushed-up secret. And the first people it's going to wipe out are the people who know what's going on. So Rick...
Not necessarily. I mean, it depends on...
Like the CDC. That episode with the CDC, they knew what was going on. So Rick waking up...
Well, they didn't, though. Because however it got out, it wasn't released by the CDC.
Yeah, they came in and they were trying to figure out what happened. But Rick waking up going, what is going on? That, to me, is very realistic. And because we are following Rick, he's just a civilian. He is just a police officer, a sheriff. And he's going around going, what's going on? Let's just survive this. That, to me, that's very realistic. And when they found Eugene randomly out of there, and he goes, that's classified. Yeah, to me, yeah. I love Eugene. I'm just saying, I love Eugene's character. Love him so much.
He's fun. I enjoy him. But yeah, I think that, and they don't have to clearly explain it. Like, one of the things I really appreciated with 28 Days Later is that they did show you how it happened before he woke up in the middle of it. But then from his perspective, it's just, once he wakes up, all you see is from his perspective.
Right.
And but it established for zombie fans like me that these aren't your normal zombies. Yes, we're breaking zombie rules, but we're really not, because these aren't your
because they are, and that's it. They're, like any other story, it has to be logical.
Right, and that's one of the things that frustrates me, especially in video games, and maybe because I'm not a really big gamer, because my husband loves playing DayZ, and I enjoyed trying to learn the story watching him play, but I was so frustrated. I was like, okay, 1, why are your zombies fast? 2, how did the zombie apocalypse happen? He's like, we don't know this because it's never told to us. And I was like, you're in the military. You're on a base. They had to tell you something.
Yeah.
Why didn't they tell you anything? He's like, it's just an open it's an open sandbox game for you to get to kill zombies. That's really all it's about. And I was like, no, I want to know why. I want a story. Give me a story.
I don't want to know unless it's logical. And in I Am Legend, I love the explanation they gave. And again, they're not zombies, but they may as well be. He is the cause of it. He is the bioengineer in there, and he is the reason it went wrong. So not only is he, I just wiped out the human race. Yes, New York City is down. Yep, I did this.
Yep.
To me, that's huge.
Well, and the great part is that they explain how it happened.
Yeah, but
The
he had
perspective,
that
it wasn't
knowledge
like
to
he was
do it.
trying to do it.
Yeah.
It was a perfectly innocent accident, and the book is amazing.
Yeah,
And
very much.
there's another one called I Am Omega,
Oh yeah, I Am Omega.
which
Yeah.
is very similar to
Yeah.
I Am Legend.
Yeah.
And they do a similar thing where he doesn't know what happened, he doesn't know why it happened, but he goes on a mission to figure it out. And that's one of the things that frustrates me with a lot of zombie stuff. I love Max Brooks, World War Z, because it takes, and it's done in a really elegant way. It's done by it's just a bunch of stories. Like, I think he got the inspiration from reading one of the World War II survivor stories of people that survived the Holocaust.
Yep.
And so he does the same thing, and he pulls these different stories from all these different people that were involved on different levels, and you actually don't see the first outbreak story until like the middle of the book, which was awesome. But it's, soldiers that survived this part and people that survived this part. And one of the things that a lot of zombie stories forget is that in the U.S., the infrastructure for most of the country will have electricity and water for months after any crisis happens, unless our power grid gets hit. But the odds of that happening, as well as an unexplained virus reaching out across the country, and that was one of the things I got a kick out of, what was Zombieland, which was a great tongue-in-cheek. But the kids sat there for like the first huge part of the apocalypse, not even realizing it had started, because he was playing on his computer. It wasn't until the girl across the hall knocked on the door that he realized there might be something wrong. And that's a truer commentary to how zombie relates to culture as any I've ever seen. And how that disenfranchised young male or female surviving by shutting themselves off from society and really wishing they could just take out that cheerleader with a strike to the head because she's trying to eat him. It's okay. It's totally okay. And I love Zombieland. It just makes me laugh every time. And Twinkies. The only food that will survive the zombie apocalypse forever and ever.
Yeah, I really love not knowing. I love being on that same level and just walking through Walking Dead, going, why, where, how? It really.
Have another question.
Yeah.
So, why do zombies only attack people and not animals too?
That is huge. I was there. I want to know where all the cats are. Where are all
They're
the
already
cats?
eaten. That's why.
Well, no.
And it depends on the stories you read. So with, and again, this comes down to understanding what kind of zombie you're writing.
Yeah.
With the original magical zombies, the reason that they attacked people was to eat their brains because they needed the brain power, which is one of the things I appreciate about iZombie, is that if they eat fresh brains, they maintain the electrical circuits, and that's how she's able to continue functioning and not turn into a rabid zombie. I appreciate that they made that
way
effort.
more sense than like just
I love
they
it.
give you on Netflix.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Effort. And
That
every
effort.
scientist in the audience just went, no.
I mean, it doesn't, but they made an effort to explain.
But at least,
They made an effort to justify it. It wasn't just to throw it out there. And yeah, I know it doesn't really make sense. But
you know what zombieism is? Zombieism is leprosy. That's what it is. It's
right,
leprosy.
where the original horror stories come from.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's cannibalism. It's lepers who are cannibals. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So, it's...
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily cannibalistic lepers. I think it's just
the fear, because even if you touched
the
them, it
fear
would
of
turn.
lepers, but it was
and not
also
knowing
that,
how.
That because society feared the lepers so much, they ostracized them.
I'm sorry.
Right?
I love Carol Burnett.
Of the lepers.
And there's this moment with Carol Burnett where it's doing a skit in the past, and they're on a Roman boat. It's like, the 2000 BC, and Tim Conway walks in, and he sits down and he shakes the hand of the guy next to him, and he goes, "Hi, I'm a leper." And the guy's got a sweat, and he's like, it's just,
Yeah.
That's what I'm reminded. Yeah, you touch them and it's, hi, I'm a leper.
I wonder also if some of it has to do with all of the plagues that went through Europe
Yeah.
in the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages, and how the combination of those two things
Yeah.
sort
And
of
how
spread
quickly and easily
mythology.
it spread
I'd
unexplained.
like to know where the first zombie came from, because with vampires you can go back, and I actually know the exact root of vampirism, which goes back to the Devadgar and the Norse myths. The Devadgar were, it's involved, but I will be very, very vague and brief. The full story is actually on my site. The Devadgar was mistranslated to dwarf, which simply means small. They were actually elves who lived underground and mined, which is why they were such great crafters, is because they were elves and they had the elven craft. And because they lived underground, they had white, pale faces, they had claws to rip out the soil, and they had dark hair, black eyes. And this is all, this reminds me so much of the, I cannot remember what they're called, in the Time Machine, H.G. Wells' Time Machine.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were like that. And rumors started developing later on, and I mean like 11th century, where there were things that would come out and eat children and drink blood. And that is where the concept of vampire came from, was actually from the underground living elves. So there's like a long 1,000-year history behind the growth and development into vampires. So when Dracula came along, it was actually pulled off of this old Germanic Scandinavian story. Mm-hmm. And I cannot find zombies anywhere. Where did they come from?
Well, there's a lot of different parts. I mean, we talked about the leprosy and the plagues. Mm-hmm. There's also, in Victorian times, when they started burying their dead and then revisiting, there were times where people weren't actually dead.
Yeah, the wakes.
And or they would have, the coffin would collapse and they'd open it up and see clawing marks inside.
Buried alive, yeah.
Because they'd been buried alive, and it was a deep fear for people. I mean, it's still to a very great degree a deep fear for people. And so the idea of zombies from there, and then magical zombies is very much a Haitian.
Haiti, yeah.
Culture.
All right.
And they're real. They are absolutely real. The voodoo priests will use the powder from a pufferfish,
mm-hmm.
and they'll poison an individual until they are at the point of death. And what happens when you're deprived of oxygen for a certain amount of time? Your brain dies. And then they stop poisoning them, they unbury them, they bring them back, and there's damage. There's brain damage. These people can't function properly. And the logic is gone, and they do have emotions, and their emotions are overreactive because they can't control their emotions because the logic is gone. And it's still happening today that these priests are creating these zombies. But they're not zombies. They're brain damaged individuals who and it's a huge crime in Haiti. If they can figure out which priest is the one that did it, they end up with massive jail time. But what do you do with that poor person after that's happened to them?
That's interesting. Wow.
So there is very a lot of the zombie myths that happen, and then of course the viruses, because we're scared, and because biomedical engineering, it happens. We know it happens. Yeah.
And it's funny because Planet of the Apes can really run with the similarity between zombies and Planet of the Apes.
Yep.
One makes them smarter while the other unleashes this illogical scientific improbability. So it's
Well, I dabbled with a zombie book, and I don't know, I may go back to it one day when loving zombies tones down a little bit.
I'll tell you, after I did not realize how many zombie books were out there. In fact, I didn't think there were any aside from tongue-in-cheek spoofs and comic books.
I know a lot of people, which is why I'm sad none of them came.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I found out Jay Norrie. Jay Norrie and I have been talking for a year. He and his wife are one of my favorite people. They are just phenomenal people. And I found out, I've been talking to them for a while, Riley as well, and I'm like, okay. And then we came together for the zombie panel, and I'm like, whoa, you guys do zombies too? So it was like a thing. And I'll tell you, I was floored. And I was kind of isolated in my own little world with zombies from space, and then I was Googling something regarding zombies from space, and up pops all this zombie material. And I'm like, and I remember on Instagram, one of the authors pops through with zombie book, and already within 2 days of it, I'm going, okay, that's really kind of like that vampire when when Twilight happens, only we have an overflood. And I'm just like, okay, enough with the vampire books. I am already there with, okay, enough of the zombie stories, guys. And it's funny because I'm writing zombies from space, but to me, it's actually aliens versus vampires, and it's
Right.
I don't know.
I think
really
that's why that change has happened in making zombies more lovable, is because it's authors trying to differentiate their work from everybody else's.
Yeah.
And that's why I put my book away for maybe 20, 40 years from now.
Yeah.
It might come back out, but yeah.
And I mean, I plan on sticking with zombies from space because it is so different, because I am having fun with it. But, and I don't know if I'll publish it. I will probably publish it later. It depends on how well it does on my website. And like I said, I post it and I literally get 200 hits instantly overnight. So I'm like, okay, so I do have a zombie from space following. So, and it will continue. I have this massive story that it revolves around, and I pushed pause on it because of the cyber convention. But yeah, it's I pushed pause with a lot on this. So.
Yeah.
I feel ya. I'm doing nano, and
Thank
I'm
you
way
guys
behind.
for making the zombie panel be awesome, despite all of the people who were asleep and zombie-like and therefore didn't
It's
make
okay.
it.
You know what's going to happen? And this is to you guys. They're going to sit down and watch this because they missed it, and they're going to go, oh, yeah,
I should have been there!
So that's right, guys.
They got attacked by the zombies, apparently.
This is it. Honestly, I want to do another zombie panel. So, and we can bring individually one of them in, because Riley and Jay Nori, I definitely want to sit down and just zombie it out with people. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's on. I really need to do a podcast. I need to figure out how to podcast, because I'm going to do my own podcast.
Yeah, it's super easy.
Yeah, once a month, I'm going to bring it on, and it's going to be whatever the heck I want. And zombies is going to be a frequent visitor, and I'm going to have guests, and it'll be a thing, and people will love me. Love me. All right.
You should, so there's this podcast. It's now called The Worst Show Ever. It was originally called Better Off Undead because they were intending to talk about zombies and The Walking Dead, and they couldn't stay on topic, and it is the best show ever.
That's probably what's going to be what mine is, because there are so many topics, and we have so much variety. And I don't like the shows where they come in and they say, okay, this is the topic we're going to discuss, and we're going to stay on topic at all times. I am not that person. No, I want to talk, and I don't care what it is about. And like and it might be last minute, like, hey, this is an awesome discussion. We need to do this. And good God, this whole weekend has been nothing but that with panel discussions. Joe. Oh my goodness, like Joe's live thing is
Joe's live thing is awesome. I was on there for like 4 hours last night.
Isn't it just insane? You jump in and you never know who's coming on. And I know what it's going to be called: unexpected guests.
There you go.
Yeah, unexpected.
That's what you call it next year.
I like it. I like it.
Angela's unexpected guests. That will be my pod name. Copyright. So, yes. Awesome. That is awesome. That is exactly it.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.